When I was little, I used to see myself as a freak. I was too ashamed to undress in front of other people. Hi, my name is Alice, and I'm a mutant. I have 4 hands, of which I am proud. Or at least now I am. But my parents insist on surgery. My deformity really looks quite creepy. Just imagine 2 ordinary hands attached at the wrists that are attached to your arms, right? And, well, then imagine another 2 hands, and that makes 4. The second pair are, well, they're little and underdeveloped, and they stick out of my back just beneath my shoulder blades. These little hands are the result of an error in my genetic code. It would be way more interesting if it was like my conjoined twin that I absorbed in the womb or something crazy like that, but unfortunately, it's just some glitch in the program. I can't control them or do anything with their help, though they have prevented me from living a normal life. I couldn't go out unless I wore a thick hoodie. Beautiful dresses with an open back, tight shirts, spaghetti straps on a hot summer's day. All those clothes were off limits for me. I used to wear thick robes and sweaters, and I would look like an angel from the side, as if I was folding my delicate wings beneath my clothing. It doesn't take 2 brain cells to know that the other kids used to make fun of me, and that it was absolutely unpleasant. I was a weirdo, an outsider, shunned to forever sit in the last desk in the classroom, like a terrible traffic accident that you try not to look at, but still, you follow with the corner of your eyes, hiding your squeamishness and your own morbid curiosities. One day, in class, our history teacher decided to bring us to the museum on our field trip. There was this whole floor dedicated to the pantheons of Eastern gods. The first one that our teacher showed us was this statue of an Indian goddess. She was gorgeous, even as a statue. She looked like a beautiful woman who wore a belt made out of skulls. I know, so metal. And she also had 4 hands. I wanted to know everything there was to know about her at once. My classmates also got to know her story, and they stopped laughing at me from that moment on. What if I am the real incarnation of an ancient goddess? That was absolute nonsense, obviously, but still, kids believe even the silliest of stories. And I achieved something I had lost hope in for a long, long time. They started to respect me and even fear me. My self-esteem more than doubled that day. I was not just a broken person with a crooked genetic line or some freak of nature. I was an embodiment of an Indian god, and I didn't care if there wasn't even a spot of Indian blood in my family. I found something I could identify with. And through that experience, I learned to accept myself. I even started to love my weird, though extraordinary body. And this fascination with this goddess led me to talk to others for the first time, to learn new information about the Indian culture. For the first time, my future felt like it was my choice, not something I just had to sit on the sidelines for. I felt like I could turn this hideous curse and turn it into something beneficial, maybe even beautiful. But my family was against it. As soon as I got back from that field trip, I was butting heads with my family. Although my classmates respected me, heck, I even managed to make some friends. They were the weirdos of the class, but still, it was better than being alone. But my parents, no. They didn't want to say anything to my face. They tried to avoid the topic of redundant limbs. But also they were hiding my little hands in robes and coats and some crazy overflowing avant-garde dress. I would hear, "Oh dear, this is ugly. Oh, you're embarrassing us. Nobody wants to look at that body. Oh, we're just trying to protect you." That was what my mother kept saying instead of, oh, I don't know, literally anything kind or supporting. When I got older, they started talking about surgery. They didn't ask me whether I wanted to have surgery. They didn't ask me anything. They just took me to the appointment with the best surgeon in our city as soon as I became 16. The thought of being cut and pricked with needles scared me a lot. Then I read about the possible consequences of the surgery. I went into hysterics right inside of the doctor's office, and I started to beg my parents to leave everything as it was. I was happy, please. I didn't want to have huge scars on my back or be paralyzed for the rest of my life. However, my parents said that I made it all up, all of my fears, and that they were just irrational, and that there would definitely be a surgery. No one listened to me, as always. They just try to force me to come to terms with that fact. Once in a while, I have to go to different checkups supervised by my parents. The doctors smile at me and my mother chastises me, hoping for a time when I will stop being an embarrassment to her. Seems like everyone is fine. Everyone except for me. But no one cares. I'm dreaming of running away. To be honest, I'm terrified. How can I know that the surgery will go well despite all the doctor's smiles and reassuring nods? But my adulthood is near, and then I will be able to take my health and my body under my own control. My parents even gave me money once to use on boys to influence my romantic side, as my mom told me. That was what made me want to run away. But they brought me back and placed me under house arrest. What kind of people do something like that to their own child? And I'm not talking about the house arrest. My parents even called for a therapist for him to convince me that I need the surgery. The question is, why did they wait to do it after my 16th birthday and not in my childhood when I felt I actually needed it? I can't believe that my parents care only about my appearance and not at all about the young woman that has to stay hidden under this baggy sweater.
I'm Alice's mother, and I hate the things she keeps doing to herself. I understand that the fault is genetic, but I'm waiting for her adulthood so that we can fix that monstrosity. Yeah, I know that partly the blame lies with my husband and me. It was our genes that made such a terrible joke, but we had a solution. From the very first days of her life, we knew that we needed to be patient and do surgery as soon as she turns 18. But how is one supposed to explain to their child that she is special, but only for a short period of time? I honestly tried not to notice my daughter's deformity. I thought she would grow older and it will work itself out. I just tried not to look at her for too long. I was a good mother. I even joined a community of parents with special kids. We drank tea, talked about things, and for those hours, I felt like my daughter doesn't have any issues. At least I saw that other parents struggled more. Their kids had malformations that were much worse and more visible. I don't know how Alice got out of control. Should I blame puberty? Alice stopped obeying us, and she even, oh, what a nightmare, started to be proud of her hideous limbs. She said they made her look like a goddess. The truth was, she rather looked like the queen of freaks, especially when she stopped hiding her back under clothing. Alice started to show everyone her tiny hands as if on purpose. She wore tight shirts, absolutely inappropriately revealing t-shirts. I asked her to stop doing that, but she said she needed to accept herself the way she was. Did she even think about me? How was I supposed to follow her when everyone knew whose daughter she was? Well, as soon as she turned 16, my husband and I took her to the clinic. I hoped they would speed up the process and all that nightmare would finally stop. Unfortunately, the doctors said that we needed to wait for Alice to become an adult. And more than that, she should make the decision and understand all the risks. Yeah, I can see how she changed her mind when she became 18. Alice buried herself in medical books instead of being thankful and begging doctors to stop her struggles. Then she made an awful hysteria. Alice screamed that she doesn't want to be operated on, and she's fine with her disability at the moment and wouldn't mind staying like that forever, as if she was just fine. Yes, I also read all those books. They really wrote that spine surgery is a dangerous thing and may cause paralysis, but the risk is only 40%. One can tolerate that, but eventually become beautiful and absolutely normal. From that moment, my husband and I spent all our free time trying to convince Alice to do the surgery. My husband said we can prove her mentally ill and sign papers for her as a last resort. Or we could kick her out of the house and let her live her own life, not bothering us with her weirdness. But I'm her mother. And I don't want to lose my girl because of her stupidity. That's why I'll try to do everything I can to make Alice say yes and not create problems for us. I even called for the therapist for him to use some medical terms and tell her there is nothing scary in that surgery. Millions of women do this every day to improve their appearance, and everyone is fine and beautiful. I hope my words still mean something to Alice. She's still young, and she should want to be beautiful for boys to like her for dating. And guys even don't look at her, except her freak friends. Maybe her first love would encourage her to do the surgery. Unfortunately, there were no boys who agreed to date her for money. All of them said she was horrible and creepy, and no money could make them risk their reputation. I told Alice about that, and she freaked out once again and tried to run away instead of being thankful. All in all, we are in the middle of confrontation at the moment, and I don't know who would win. I'm pretty sure that we'll definitely have a surgery whatever it takes. Alice would thank us for that when everything will be over. Her appearance is important, and without a decent look, she wouldn't manage anything. Please write in the comments what you think about the story and its characters. Give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes.